Welcome back to the EPAN to the UKV pod. I'm your host, Josh Carpenter, joined by my co-host, Drew Pitzer. And today we're excited to welcome assistant coach, IU Indy, Devin Heath-Granger. Devin, I appreciate you joining us today, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing? Thank you guys for having me.
Good, man. Good. Tell us about your background growing up in Indianapolis. What was that experience like? How'd you fall in love with basketball, and how'd you get to where you're at now?
Yeah, from Indianapolis, Indiana, and from a basketball standpoint, you don't have much choice to love basketball here. It's a huge basketball state. It's a huge basketball city of Indianapolis. So grew up, played baseball a lot growing up too, but played high school basketball at Lawrence Central and had a pretty good career there. Went on to play at Goshen College, NAI school, and played there for 4 years, then kind of got my coaching career started. So yeah, like I said, Indiana basketball's everything here, and I'm really excited. I'm continuing to coach in this great state and kind of keep the legacy going.
Yeah, for sure. So what was your first experience coaching, and how'd you land that job?
Yeah, it's funny. My first ever coaching job, I actually coached the JV team at Goshen, and so I was playing, and then my senior year, I kind of helped coach the JV team. So that was awesome. I did that and did some AAU stuff in between when I was kind of looking for to find something in college, and then got started at Marion NAI school here in Indianapolis, and actually went to the Final Four that year. So those were kind of like my early gigs and really enjoyed it. Then I kind of went out to West Virginia, originally to coach at Wheeling University, and some things happened with the coaching changes and ended up being at Fairmont for 5 years. But it all kind of started on the JV team and at my alma mater, and had a lot of fun with that, and did some AAU stuff, which really gave me the first time to kind of just lead my own team, and was super grateful for that experience, and kind of came all full circle to be here.
What are some things or early challenges just when you broke into coaching? What are some early things? How did you find your voice as a coach? What were some early struggles or just challenges getting there?
Yeah, I think for me, some of the early challenges was just like when I played, and I had a pretty good career at Goshen and did a lot of things. And when you first get into coaching, it kind of be hard to get kids to maybe buy into what you did. At go from a player to a coach right away was kind of tough because you want everybody to kind of do what you did as a player. Not that I was the greatest player, but that was kind of a challenge at first. But honestly, my early years, I worked for Scott Heady, my first ever job at Marion, and he's kind of a Hall of Fame type coach, and he did a really good job of. I was 22 years old at the time, and gave me a voice and kind of let me in on the scouts and did a lot of recruiting. So I was super thankful for him to kind of be in the role I was in at such a young age, but he kind of let me have that voice, and I did a lot with recruiting and did a lot with scouting, which I don't think a lot of guys get to do in that GA or lower system role. So I give him a lot of credit for that. Just kind of let me have a voice and kind of let me have a relationship with the players. And that was something I was really looking for when I got into coaching. And I wanted to go somewhere where I would have a voice, and wanted to go somewhere where I could have a relationship with the players and get to know them and help do whatever I can.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, coach. I mean, obviously, you kind of downplay your overall impact at Goshen. I mean, you're the number one all time in steals. You're 1,000 point scorer. Was there ever a time that you thought about playing at the professional level if you were skilled enough, or were you automatically as soon as the ball stopped bouncing in your college career, were you ready to move on to coaching?
A little bit of both. I did when I think it was going in my senior year, I went over to Spain and did like a week and a half, 2 week tour, where I got to kind of see what it was like. We played against some professional teams. I kind of was like on a team that was I got invited to play for, so I kind of represented America for that for 2 weeks, and had a really good time out there. But I always knew I wanted to get into coaching. I'm kind of even going back to like the high school days. So right when my career ended, I really wanted to just kind of help impact any way I can, and really just wanted to keep kind of taking the knowledge I got and just keep giving back to anybody could help. So I applied for probably 100 GA jobs all over the country right when I was done, and I was pretty fortunate to kind of land on my feet and kind of get my career off started at a good place.
For sure. And kind of like to follow up on that, obviously, moving into the coaching ranks, while you got to Fairmont State, you ended up becoming the president of basketball operations. Can you kind of detail what led you into that role? Is that something you maybe be interested in getting back into in the future?
A little bit. So, I mean, when I was at Marion, I kind of did some director of basketball stuff. So, anytime you can kind of just kind of grow your resume with different things, I think is a good thing. But I really like kind of where I'm at right now, just kind of being an assistant and kind of focusing on some basketball stuff. So, that's what I would say. But obviously, any opportunity in the future, I would love to kind of just see what's out there. But going back to my time at Marion, definitely doing some of the operation stuff was something I'm glad I was able to do.
Yeah, for sure. Who was the head coach at Fairmont, and what was some differences there and where you spent before? What did you learn at Fairmont? How was that experience overall?
Yeah, Tim Kanan, still the head coach at Fairmont State and a really, really successful head coach and just like a great guy to me, great mentor. It's been a couple years since I've worked there, but we still talk probably once a week. So, for him, just he's had a ton of success. And when I first got there, it was just willing to just listen to him and just kind of see what he likes as a coach and kind of see the differences from a Fairmont standpoint. The biggest thing from a difference, and I think this is probably a lot of places. Fairmont has a community that really really loves basketball. I mean,
Yes.
they sell a lot of their games. It's important there, and it's really has a rich history, success of. Jarrett Calhoun has at Utah State, Joe Mazzulla, who's with the Celtics. So they love their basketball out there. They support it at a really, really high level. They've done a lot of winning way before I got there, and they'll do a lot of winning way after I'm there. So it's a really good basketball spot, and I was super fortunate to spend some time there.
Yeah, for sure. So then after Fairmont, you went to University of Indy, right?
Yep.
How many years were you there, and kind of what shaped into getting here, and how'd you meet Howlett and get on IU Indy?
Yep. So I was at UND University of Indianapolis for 1 year. So it's kind of full circle. Scott Hetty, who hired me at Marion, took the University of Indianapolis job and asked me to come join him on staff and did that for a year and had a really up and down year to year we there, dealt with a lot of injuries, had some big wins, had some tough losses, but really enjoyed that year. Got with the players and got under Coach Hetty again and then started working here at IU Indy for Coach Hallett. Want to say in July, so kind of 3 or 4 months so far, but it's been good so far, and super fortunate for Coach Hallett to give me this opportunity. I when I was at Fairmont, we competed against him for 5 years when I was there, so took a lot of losses. Had some wins against West Liberty, so I'm glad I'm on the right side of it now.
Did you know Howlett personally previously, or was it just the interview process and you came in and it went well and he hired you, or did you guys have a relationship?
I would say a little bit of both. I don't know if we ever had a great relationship, but just from that's a huge rivalry in West Virginia, the West Liberty Fairmont State. So I think just being part of that for 5 years, and just competing against him so many times, and obviously through the recruiting and kind of like the coaching fraternity, you run into a lot of these guys, but we always stayed in touch, and he did obviously a hell of a job at West Liberty. When this opportunity kind of arose and he reached out, I kind of thought it was a no-brainer.
And has it felt like everything's moving so fast? Because I know it was kind of a later hire and later getting the full staff together. How are you guys getting ready for the season? And
It has been really fast, but honestly, and I think we would all say this on staff. I think that's kind of been a good thing because from the day we got here, it's kind of just been full go, and we have 14 new players. So kind of integrate all that, and a lot of guys came with Coach Hallett from West Liberty, 4 players, and then 2 of his signees. It's been fast, but honestly, for us, I think it's been a good thing because it's kind of just been full go. We've got a lot done so far, and we start official practice on Monday. So between the June, July, and then some of the preseason stuff, we're ready to get kind of things moving here, full go tomorrow.
Yeah, so again, obviously you got to battle against Coach Hallett's teams and how fast they play and their defensive pressure. What is kind of his identity? What is it like working with him on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. As a coach, it's very similar to how they play. A lot of fast and high intensity, and he kind of preaches what he does to the players, kind of himself too. So kind of works at a high pace and gets things done. But he's had obviously a lot of success at Division II level, and he's done things his way, which we call the system, and it's been really cool to see it from the outside for 5 years, but now kind of be a part of it and kind of see the ins and outs on it and how he gets his guys to play a certain way and play a certain type of intensity and play for each other is pretty cool to be a part of.
Yeah, for
Sure, and
sure.
kinda like to follow up on that though a little bit, obviously this program doesn't nearly have the history, that, let's say, Fairmont or West Liberty has, and you guys are bringing over quite a few Division II transfers to compete at the Division I level. What do you think is gonna be the biggest, let's say, wall to try to break through to be able to merge the gap between the Division II level talent that you brought with you to be able to, compete and win these games at Division I level?
Yeah, well, just kind of starting with what you said, the lack of success, and right now that's 100% what we like. And it sounds weird, but we're excited to kind of flip this culture and kind of get it to winning ways. And there hasn't been a lot of success at IU Indy. There's really no way of hiding that. And to be honest, we don't really want to hide it. We want to kind of hit it head on and explain to guys that we're here to kind of get the and get the winning kind of flipped and get things kind of moving the right direction. From a Division II standpoint, to be honest, we're not too worried about that. Some of the highest guys at Division II level fit in right at Division I level. I think you see a lot of times nowadays it's a lot of low D1, high D2 guys are impacting teams at every level and having a lot of success. So there's been a ton of D2 guys that have had success at Division I program. There's been a lot of D2 programs that have made the transition from Division to the Division I that have had a lot of success right away. So, from a standpoint of Division II to Division I, the guys that we brought over from West Lib, we feel like they'll fit in right away and have a lot of success here, just like they did at Division II level.
Yeah, and I guess pretty much kind of to pivot off of that, Josh, before I hand it back over to you. We play at Division II level, so we kind of understand a lot of Division II guys have the skill and the talent to play at the Division I level. Really, I think it all comes down to size and speed. So if you're able to kind of bridge that gap and bring those guys along with your type of system that Coach Hallett's going to be playing, it should be seamless. Obviously, you're going to try to put up a lot of points, but defensively, I think that might be a little bit more of adjustment, especially playing in a whole new program, kind of trying to introduce that culture. So, what is going to be one thing that you guys harp on every single day in practice and in games to try to bridge that gap?
Just playing hard. That's kind of pretty simple with us. We try to play as hard as we can every single possession, and we're going to play a lot of guys, and we're going to play at the highest intensity we can. And we are probably on the smaller end of most Division I teams, but we feel like with the style of play we have and the effort we'll play with, we'll bridge that gap to a lot of teams with size. So for us, that's kind of non-negotiable from day one. It's just effort, intensity, play as hard as you can, have intensity with everything you do, and we feel like if we do that every single day, which we've been doing a pretty good job in practice, if we do that every single day, we feel like we'll bridge that gap of size pretty quickly.
Perfect. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, how excited are you personally to be at the Division I level now after all your journeys? I think you guys play Ohio State this year, maybe like Butler, teams like that. How excited are you personally, like to get out there and be at this stage of your career? Like, does that fire you up or what?
Yeah, and for me, it's kind of a dream come true. I'm from Indianapolis, so to kind of be at this level in your hometown is kind of everything you want. And like you said, we know. I mean, our schedule to open up with Ohio State, we know there's a lot of challenges, but I think for our guys, we have a lot of guys on our roster right now that have a chip on their shoulder, whether they're Division II guys or they're coming from a Division I where they not may not have the statistics they wanted to. So we're super, super excited. I couldn't be more excited to kind of be here and be on this staff. And Coach Hallett, I mean, the proof's in the pudding with him. He's won a ton of games and one of the more successful coaches at every level, Division I, Division II, Division III. So just to learn from him every single day and be around it and be in the city, be in the state that cares so much about basketball, it's honestly been a dream come true.
For sure. The last one for me, Drew, then I'll give it back to you. What advice would you give young coaches at any level to find that voice that are just starting out to break into the profession? What advice would you give them to be successful?
Yeah, that's a really good question. To me, it's always just take risk. Don't be afraid to take risks. I guess is a better way to say it. For me, I was 22 and just got done at marrying and moved. My wife now, girlfriend at the time, moved to West Virginia and kind of just started our coaching career now. And if I would have told you I would have spent 5 years in West Virginia when I was 19 years old, I would have told you no way. But just for any coach that wants to get into it, don't just pigeonhole yourself into a certain region or a certain league or a certain division. Division two, Division three in AI. There's good basketball everywhere, JUCO. So for any young coach that wants to really get into it, just kind of get out your comfort zone, go find a spot that you really like, and don't be afraid to go to different regions, work for different guys, work at different levels, because at the end of the day, I think we all, even now, can learn from coaches at every level. And that's something I was super fortunate to be. I've worked for really good coaches that have all done things a lot of different ways, and I think it's all shown to be successful in coaching. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, and I'm probably a prime example of that.
Sure. Appreciate you, Coach.
So, Coach, I only have a couple more questions for you as well. Obviously, we spoke with Coach Mike Lamberti, the new West Liberty head coach, last week, and he gave us not last week, it was last month. He gave us a lot of good intel on kind of his decision making and process. But kind of ask you, you've been in this assistant coaching role, you've been president of operations. Do you ever have like that inkling to where, hey, I think I could be a head coach someday, somewhere? Is that something that you're looking for, or are you just really comfortable where you're at?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I saw the interview you guys did with Coach Lamberti, and obviously he's had a lot of success. And to come after him on this podcast, I was like, man, that had to kind of put some big shoes for me to fill. For me, just to be an assistant, obviously, I think every coach has ambitions to be a head coach at one day, and obviously, I would be lying if I said I didn't want to be that one day. But for now, it's kind of just really doing what I can to help this staff, help this team here at IU Indy, help Coach Allett, trying to do the best we can right now. And if that day comes one day, obviously be fortunate to be in that position. But I think a lot of coaches will say this. I think even Coach kind of talked on this when you guys talked to him. I think it's real easy as an assistant to want to be a head coach and dream about that and do all the things. I think you may lose sight on exactly what your role is right now. So for me, it's just continuing to build and do everything I can every single day to help this institution, help this team, and be the best IU Indy we can be moving forward.
Sure, and I just got two more questions, Josh, and I'll let you finish it up. So this one's kind of going off of that too as well. Being a head coach obviously comes with so many different hats that you have to wear, and a lot of different communication styles and different players. You basically have to be a chameleon. What do you think are the three biggest traits a head coach needs to be successful?
Ooh, that's a good question. Three traits a head coach has to have to be successful. I would say that number one, that I will say is have a style, have a system that you really believe in. And I think every successful head coach I've worked for, kind of like I said earlier, they may do things differently, but they all have something they really, really believe in, and they're super confident with it. So whether that's an up tempo offense or whether that's a pack line slow down defense, just having something you really believe in and you're really assertive with, I think goes a long way. Number two, I just think in today's landscape, the ability to recruit. I think every really good coach and all the good coaches I've worked for have had a really unique way of recruiting and getting players. And I think in today's aspect, that's just as part of it. I think you can be a really good, obviously successful coach, but if you don't have the right players to kind of even fit your personnel, going back to what I was saying, I think a lot of successful coaches I've been around, not only do they recruit the talented players, but they recruit the ones that fit them the most. So that would be that. And then number three, I would say just a way to relate to the players. I think everybody, and I'm not saying everybody does it the same, but having a certain type of when you get in there, the guys respect you and they're willing to talk to you on and off the court. So those are three that come off the top of my head, and I couldn't reiterate enough. The guys I work for have probably all done those three different ways, but obviously they've all been super successful in that.
Yeah, for
Sure.
sure.
And then the last one, Josh, before I hand it back over to you. This year, obviously, again, we spoke on the lack of success that IU Indies had, in recent years. And again, coming from Coach Howlett, who's somebody who's never not had success, what will be the mark of a successful season for y'all this year when it gets to March and you guys are packing up the locker room?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. We've talked about that. I would say for us, just when it gets to the end of the year, we want to be in the position to compete for Horizon League Championship. And don't know if that's the one seed, the two seed, the three seed, whatever it may be, but we want when this season ends, our regular season ends, that we're confident enough that we can go win three games, or three or four games and win the Horizon League Championship. And we feel like with the roster we have and the style of play, we'll be just okay doing that. We don't really ever put like a number on it per se, or like a finish first or second in the league, but
Right.
we want when that year to be over, us to be in a position that we've put ourselves in a good spot to go do some damage in the conference tournament and see what happens.
Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
perfect. Thanks, coach.
No problem.
Yeah, that had me think of a question. What do you think separates Indiana from other states of making such good players? 'Cause I feel like it's not that hard to find a good player in Indiana or Indianapolis if you need one. What separates them from other states that might have the same population but not the type of success or players?
Yeah, I think here in Indiana, and it goes back many, many years ago. There's a community, there's a state feel where people just really get behind basketball. And you saw what the Pacers finals run this year they had. It was just like the whole state kind of got behind them. And I think right now it's such a rich history of basketball here in Indiana, of players and communities, and even the university has had a ton of success. So I think that's the biggest thing. I just think at a young age, you get intensified in it, and it's a place where you really want to be. And basketball is really, really important here, and they start at a young age. So I think just from the support, the resources they give you at a young age, it kind of lets guys play. And like even other states like Texas or even Ohio are kind of known for like their football stuff. Indiana, it's just the pride they have for basketball is, I would say, it's like no other.
Yeah. Last one for me, then we'll close it out. In your earlier days when you were coaching college guys that weren't that much older than you, how did you find that voice and earn that respect with those guys in the locker room?
I think just honestly, the first thing that comes to my head is just spending time with them, getting in the gym with them, watching film with them, and just kind of being around the players as much as you can. I think that was huge for me, and that's one thing Coach Scott Heady my first year kind of let me do. It was I think the biggest way you can kind of grow a relationship with them is spend time from a basketball stand with them, and like I said, watching film, getting in the gym, unlocking the gym, being there early, staying there late with those guys. I think if they show how much you care, they'll really respect you even at a young age. And I would even say even now, like our staff here at IU Indy is pretty young, probably compared to most, but I would say all of us is kind of willing to kind of meet with our guys and stay in the gym. And some of our assistants do a really good job of staying in the gym with our guys and watching film with them. And I think always the respect factor goes a long way by the more you spend time with them and keep helping them become better players.
Sure. Well, Coach, we appreciate you joining, man. Another episode of EPAN to the UKV Pod. I'm your host, Josh Carpenter. Joining my co-host, Drew Pitzer. Appreciate Coach Devin Heath-Granger, IU Indy. Look forward to watching you guys this year, man. I'll definitely be tuned in, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you guys for having me, and best of luck to you guys. And
Yes,
obviously, I'll
sir.
be following the pod and listen to you guys here moving forward.